The House will come to order. Prayer by the chaplain.
Good afternoon. Let us pray. God of wisdom and compassion, we ask for wisdom in our planning and compassion in our labor of efforts. Guide us to be responsible to all and for all who we represent. Guide us and give us an ear to truly hear each other in our discourse and our debates. Teach us and remind us how to negotiate in the best interest of our communities in Minnesota and how to live together in peace and in harmony. Let us live into our diversity as a strength and not as a weakness. Help us discover who our neighbors are and help and reach out to those in need. As the great Jewish theologian Martin Buber wrote, a human being only becomes whole, not in virtue of a relation to himself only, but rather as a virtue of an authentic relation to other human beings. Bring us together, not in self-serving need, but bring us together in need to enhance better and safer communities for all peoples in Minnesota. And as we remember the martyr and German theologian Dietrich Bonhoeffer, who told us, action springs not from thought, but from a readiness for responsibility. Teach us in our discernment, guide us in our actions, and let us be an example to all for our compassion to our fellow human beings. This we ask in our merciful God. Amen.
The chaplain for today is Reverend Dwayne Sutherland from Glen Cary Lutheran Church in Ham Lake. Pledge of Allegiance. Please remain standing and recite the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The clerk will take the roll. The clerk will close the roll. A quorum is present. Members, please take your conversations off of the House floor. Members, the clerk will read the journal of the preceding day.
Journal of the House, 93rd Session, 2023, 45th day, St. Paul, Minnesota, Tuesday, April 4th, 2023.
If there is no objection, further reading of the journal will be dispensed with, and the journal will be approved as corrected by the chief clerk. Hearing no objection, the journal is approved as corrected by the chief clerk. Reports of standing committees and divisions. A copy of this order of business is on your desk and online. If there is no objection, the reports will be adopted. Hearing no objection, the reports are adopted. Introduction of House files. The following House files have been offered for introduction today. The chief clerk will report the House files and give them their first reading.
Introduction of first reading of House Files 3205 through 3208.
First reading House files 3205 through 3208. Report from the Committee on Rules and Legislative Administration.
Long from the Committee on Rules and Legislative Administration, pursuant to Rules 1.21 and 3.33, designates the following bills to be placed on the calendar for the day for Wednesday, April 12th, 2023, and establishes a pre-filing requirement for amendments offered to the following bills. House File numbers 1999, 2073, and 1126. Long from the Committee on Rules and Legislative Administration, pursuant to Rules 1.21 and 3.33, designates the following bills to be placed on the calendar for the day for Thursday, April 13th, 2023, and establishes a pre-filing requirement for amendments offered to the following bills. House File numbers 1019, 463, 3, and 2204.
Motions and resolutions. There are copies of the non-controversial motions at the House desk and online. If there is no objection, we'll take action on these motions first. Hearing no objection, the motions prevail.
Pinto moves that House File number 2292 be recalled from the Committee on Education, Finance, and be re-referred to the Committee on Ways and Means.
The member from Ramsey, Representative Pinto, to your motion.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. House File 2292 is a bill that was referred from the Children and Families Committee that I chaired, Education Finance. It is a bill that is going to serve as a vehicle for an Early Learning Conference Committee with the Senate. We need to move it to Ways and Means. It will then at that point have the contents be replaced with the early learning provisions from the Children and Families Budget Bill, allowing us to match up with the Senate, be able to proceed to work out disagreements between the two bodies on that portion of the Children and Families Budget Bill. I would ask for members' support of the motion.
The member from Morrison, Representative Kresha.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and welcome back, everyone. And Chair Pinto, we had a conversation about this, so I actually don't think this is non-controversial as it states. I understand what's happening. I understand the language of what we've said, that this is a vehicle bill, that the language is going to be changed and all that. My cautions to this body, though, and to the majority party is you have to respect where we're going with minority members and our ability to influence, offer amendments, and talk about bills. From a strictly process point of view, we have 2292, which is a vehicle bill. So that means, members, the language that you have today is not the language that's going to be in the Ways and Means. Now, I believe my friend across the aisle is an honorable person, and the language he's going to put in may or may not be a surprise, but we don't know. We don't know what that language will be. Now, normally what we do with a vehicle bill is it comes through committee, it's gonna remove some obscure language, and we all agree that the language in that bill is nothing, and say, sure, that's a vehicle bill, we get it, you're gonna need place markers as the session goes. The problem that I have with this is we are taking a bill, 2292, which is the governor's pre-K language, And what I heard was, well, that language really doesn't matter. Well, then why did we make it a bill? Because we did. And now what you have in front of you, members, is not a vehicle bill. You have language to a bill. A couple of years ago, when I asked nonpartisan staff, I said, if I don't agree with what's in a bill, what's my recourse? And the answer is you vote no. Well, members, what's in the bill today, whether I agree or disagree with it, or if I'm being told, hey, this is a nothing, it's going to become a vehicle, the fact of the matter is that's the language in front of us. And the challenge that I have, if we're going to be moving things around like this, what language are we actually going to see? Process-wise, if this bill, if this motion passes, the bill will move to Ways and Means, which is essentially the same vote is the Ed Finance members were to move that bill from Ed Finance to Ways and Means. That's the exact same vote you're about to take today. It's not just a procedural thing. Okay? The second thing is, by doing it this way, and I understand what Chair Pinto is doing, but the Ways and Means members are going to have a bill in front of them that is different than this language, and the amendment rules will apply, which means if we wanted to amend that, so if I wanted to offer an amendment, but then I wanted to amend that amendment, I can't because what's going to be in front of us will be a delete all amendment in the Ways and Means. So, I guess one question, if I could ask Chair Pinto to yield for a question.
He will yield. Representative Kresha.
So, Chair Pinto, we were talking in the back. How is this bill going to get to conference committee? Because, as I understand it, this will be a vehicle bill for what? What language so the body knows? I mean, just lay out where we're going.
Representative Pinto.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Representative Kresha, for the question and for the cordial conversation we had before this. I appreciate it. So, yeah, members and Representative Kresha, the plan is that this bill will be moved to Ways and Means, assuming positive vote from the members today. The Children and Families Budget Bill will be in Ways on Thursday, and the portions of that bill that relate to early learning that are in the jurisdiction of the members are aware there are separate targets for children and families for early learning and for the HHS area. The early learning portion of the budget will be amended on to HF 2292 as a delete all, entirely replace the contents. There'll be a discussion in Ways, as there is for any of the budget bills. That bill will then proceed to the floor, and the plan is for it to then match up with the Senate provisions relating to early learning and for us to take our differences to conference.
Representative Kresha.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Chair Pinto. And Madam Chair, parliamentary inquiry. What language in front of us today? Is it that language that's going to be in Ways and Means, or is it the existing language of 2292?
Representative Kresha, today the vote is on the motion to move the existing House File 2292 from one committee to another. Representative Kresha.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I understand that, and I understand the technical things of what you just said, but the motion is to move that bill. That bill is a thing, it is a substance with language in it. It is not blank. It is not a number with a title that just says, to be determined. So what you have in front of you is you are moving language that's in a bill. Maybe you agree with the motion, maybe you don't. The point I'm raising, members, and on the minority side is, if we're going to do these things, because I get it, the majority party, you have this war gamed out. You understand you're working with the Senate, you're trying to fit everything together. But in the spirit of democracy and on the minority side, we don't have that visibility. And if those conversations are happening with the Senate companions, frankly, those should be done in conference committee where they're allowed to have the democratic process work together. Otherwise, are we heading down the path where we're just an expensive unicameral? I hope not. And again, Chair Pinto, we had a cordial conversation. I understand what you're doing. I am saying that I think the process by which we are doing is going to create problems for us to actually debate the language in the right way. I get at the end result. I absolutely understand where you're going. But I think there's a disadvantage to democracy by doing it this way. So members, I would actually urge a no vote.
All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Those opposed, please say no. The motion prevails. Second reading of House Files.
No, I got to read the written.
Sorry.
Pursuant to Rule 4.31, Damath presented a written demand to the Speaker on Tuesday, April 11th, 2023, for the immediate return of House File number 1809 from the Committee on Health, Finance, and Policy, be given its second reading, be placed on the General Register. The initial request was printed in the Journal of the House for Thursday, March 30th, 2023.
Second reading of House Files.
Second reading of House File number 1809.
Second reading. Announcements. Representative Long.
Madam Speaker, I move that when the House adjourns today, it adjourns until 12:30 p.m. Wednesday, April 12th, 2023.
Representative Long moves that when the House adjourns today, it adjourns until 12:30 p.m. Wednesday, April 12, 2023. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say no. The motion prevails. Representative Long.
Madam Speaker, I move that the House do now adjourn.
Representative Long moves that the House do now adjourn. All those in favor, please say aye. Those opposed, please say no. The motion prevails. The House stands adjourned until 12:30 Wednesday, April 12, 2023.